Hey there, it's Rob Hatch, and I am here with Tina DeRusha. And today we're going to be talking about how to use the app Bublup. There's a lot of apps out there, and so often as solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, we can get caught up in the idea of a shiny new object. And there's, of course, tons of how-to videos out there to show you how to walk through and use an app. But so often we find cool and creative ways to use it for our business. And I wanted to reach out to Tina and talk a little bit about how she uses the app Bublup in her business. I'm going to bring Tina on here and we're going to chat a little bit. There we go. How are you, Tina?
Hi there.
Thanks
Great.
so much for joining me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So as I mentioned, the premise of the show, how I use that, is really more about how you use an app specifically, not for you to walk us through how everyone can use it or how it's meant to be used, but how you've come to use a particular tool in your business and what you like about it. And in particular, what problem it solved for you, what maybe you've tried other apps and they just didn't kind of click for you. So that's what we're going to talk about. But before we get there, I'd like you to tell me a little bit about your business and just kind of give me a sense of what it is that you do.
Sure, absolutely. So I am a breathwork coach, and for those of you who maybe don't know what breathwork is, it's a form of meditation. It's an active meditation. I teach a particular breathing style, and it's really to help people open up and allow them to step back into their bodies. It's an embodiment activity. And I work particularly with creatives. So people who are maybe hoping to tap a little bit more into their creative side, maybe they're working through some blocks, and I help them realize that and get into a better flow state.
So tell me a little bit about what someone is struggling with when they come to you. What sort of you mentioned that you help creatives get into the flow. Do they recognize that immediately? How do they come to you?
Not always. So some people come to me out of curiosity. There's a lot of mindfulness apps out there. There's a lot of meditation apps out there. This is a little bit more active than that. This is really leveraging what we have in our own bodies. We use the tool of the breath to really open us up and unblock us. So when someone comes to me, they maybe don't know what it is in particular. A lot of artists get in their own heads and they live in this high-minded world, and they've kind of disconnected from their bodies. And so I teach them how to get back into their bodies and really use that as a leverage point in their own exploration, really. I mean, of their creative talents. I've got one artist in particular that comes to me with regularity. She's actually a musician, and she uses it as her way in. It's her way to reach her inner self so that she can write and then spin that back out into her music.
That's so cool. So it's like just her entry point for creativity, for accessing that part of herself that she wants to bring out.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. So when I started this, it was really just broad. I was reaching a pretty wide audience and casting a pretty wide net. And what I quickly found is, being a creative myself, I was stuck a lot, and I was searching. I was looking. I was really kind of feeling out there. How can I get back to myself? How can I recenter in my core? And breath work is just a tool to help you do that and leverage that. So it's like this, I kind of think of it as meditation on steroids, and once you get into the flow, what I love about it is like, it just spins out into a million directions. It's a beautiful thing. I usually, right after a breathwork session, I say, no, go create, like get out there and make what you're going to make. So, yeah.
Is it always about creativity? You mentioned that it spills into different directions. Is it, has it helped you in other aspects of your life or your business? Maybe, as a creative, it maybe isn't always so natural for us to transition into the administrative side of things, for example,
Right.
and organizing things and staying on top of the actual running of the business side.
Yeah.
That's not why we get into business, is, and I'm sure it's not exactly why you got into business, but
Yeah,
those things have to
exactly.
be done. So does that help? Does it also help with that, or do you tend to sort of
Yeah,
focus on the creative?
absolutely. No, it's creativity, but it's also clarity, right? It
Right.
gives you a way to really kind of, it's a back door. You get in, you dig around, and maybe you're poking a bit at your poking a stick at those places where you haven't addressed. You, what I call, shelved it. You put it
Yeah.
up there and you said, I'll deal with that later. This allows you to do that. And sometimes people come in and they have cathartic experiences. They breathe and they have this moment of wow, and it's just this beautiful release. And what I tell people is breathwork is different for everybody. So, and it's different every time you do it. You
Mm,
could come to me one time and you could be joyful and wonderfully manic, and the next time you could leave and you could say, I've healed a wound from my 5-year-old self. So you just don't know, and you kind of have to just be open to the experience and willing to jump in and trust the process.
that's fantastic. I mean, I'm guessing that you're doing a lot of this work. Well, you probably have always done this virtually to some degree, but now certainly more often doing this,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, through video calls or whatnot. So let's talk a little bit about some of those.
So yeah,
How does that?
the challenges. Is that where
Yeah.
you're going with that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was going to say, tell me a
I'll
little.
tell you,
Right.
it's really kind of funny to me because this is all I know now. Like, I've just taken a
Right.
deep dive into the digital aspect of everything, and so my world has become endlessly figuring out how to string technology together. Honestly,
I hear
and I
that.
think that's true for everybody right now, right? Like, you just get out there and do the best you can with what you've got. So
Well, that's
where
a
I
nice.
started in my background.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, where I started in my background was very hands-on. What I thought I would be doing with this is it was very intimate. It would be one-on-one, in
Mm,
person, in a space where we're 2 feet apart, and that's just not the reality of where we are.
right.
We can't do that and be safe. So I've had to quickly leverage and figure out what my tools are, spin it out, and have to, wear all hats, right? Figure it
Exactly.
out.
Exactly. So let's talk about some of those tools, and that's what we're talking about today on the show is how you use tools to do certain things in your business. And one of the questions that I asked you before we started was, what not just what tool you're using and how you're using it, which you'll show us in a minute, but what problem were you facing that made you go to this
Mhm.
particular tool that you're going to share with us, and then showing us a little bit about how you end up using it and organizing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess the place to start is that I have a very visual way of learning. I have an art background. I come from art. And so when I'm organizing things, I tend to do it. It's color coded, it's colorful, it's got a lot of pizzazz, let's say.
Right.
So, up to this point, I've been using Dropbox quite a bit, my own website and the backside of my website to park things, Google Docs, and just plugging in Jotform, anything I can to
Right.
make my business run and sing and hum. So when I came across Bublup, the thing that really jazzed me about it is it meets my needs where I am. It's super intuitive. It's super visual. I can kind of customize it. And you can do things like you can even save emails with it, which is a
Oh,
beautiful
cool.
thing. So if I've got an email that's super important and I don't want to lose track of it, I can immediately send it to my Bublup and tag it however I need, and it's easy to find. So
So
it's just such a beautiful, intuitive thing. I can't
that's
even
really
say
cool.
enough
So
good things about it.
it sounds like it's kind of become a bit of a dashboard for you throughout the day, and then as you're in other
Mhm.
places, just an easy
Yeah.
place to send things. So let's take a look at your dashboard for this, um, and kind of walk us through a little bit,
Yeah.
of, about how you've organized it and how you use things.
Absolutely. So, I am really just getting started with this app, but the beautiful thing about it is I've already got things kind of customized the way I like it. It's super intuitive and very easy. I have folders, and within each of those folders, I have, in particular, I'm looking at right from the screen, the owner tools module. So, if I
Yeah,
were to open that up and go into there, what you'll see are all of the PDFs that I've downloaded and saved. And
nice.
so it's easy to make notes. I can open any one of these. So for instance, I could open this one here and I can make notes, and it just brings me immediately to the information, puts it right at my fingertips. So
That's
beautiful,
really cool.
beautiful, beautiful all the way around.
So I can see this working really well. And when you opened that up, it actually didn't go to the screen because you're just sharing that one tab, which is fine.
Sorry. Yeah.
But let's just stick with the idea of taking notes. So with owner, as an owner insider, we're hosting these watch parties. So as we release a module,
Yeah.
we watch the video together, and there's also a PDF download that kind of walks you through the material as well. And it sounds like what you're
Right.
saying, if you wanted to, or one of the ways that you've used this perhaps, is to have that PDF open in Bublup, and you can take
Correct.
your own notes as we're going along and as we're asking questions, or doing the watch parties together, which
Yeah.
essentially we're watching the video together and then moving straight into an open Q&A where you can immediately ask Chris and I some questions about it pertaining to, and how it pertains to your business. But you're using it for note taking around that, it sounds like. Or
Yeah. And I'm showing you the quick flip out here, but yes, absolutely. We can add notes, sticky notes. You can add additional links and files right within each of these folders. So yes, absolutely. That is a
that's really
brilliant
cool.
way of, yeah, it is. It's quite lovely. The other thing that I really appreciate about it is, for instance, I'm working on a children's flip book.
Oh, neat.
And so I have a business partner, and we're quickly managing all of the assets that go with that, our presentation, printing and production quotes, the illustrations, examples, and samples. So each of these things is easy to organize and find. It just,
So
again,
cool.
such an intuitive thing to use, and you can keep rolling out this side here and adding as you go. You can add, like I said, links, images, your checklists, all of it right here.
So if you're
Gosh, yeah,
elsewhere, you mentioned sending emails, or let's say you're there, you have an article that you're reading and you really like, and you're not in the app but want to get it
yeah,
in there. How does that work?
yep.
How are you collecting information that way?
So you can either just simply copy it and drop it in, or they have a little side tool. Oh, my extension tool is not working right now. There's a little extension tool that pops up, and you can just click on the plus, and it will immediately add it. It will ask you where, and it will send it directly to that folder. So super intuitive. Again, you go out on the internet and you're searching, you find that article, and you're like, wow, this is something I want to save. And you just click the plus and away you go. It's there. Same thing with emails. So if you've got an email in your inbox and it's super important, you don't want to lose it in how many emails do we get in a day?
Right.
Mine gets into the hundreds. You just send it to the specific folder, and it shows up there, and you're off to the races. So again, a beautiful, easy, navigable type of app. I don't even know, I don't have a better way to say it. It's
No,
just
you said it very
incredible.
well. You said it very well. And this appeals to you as a creative as well, like you said, it's sort of there's an intuitive
Mhm.
nature to it. It's highly visual, so that really sounds like it matches you and your personality and what you generally look for or need, versus say Google
Exactly.
Docs, which is really just file folders, or
Yeah.
yeah, same with Dropbox, which the functionality is there, but it's missing some of these more intuitive pieces. And the add-ons you mentioned, I love this note-taking idea, that once you
Yeah.
have the document there, that you can add to it. Um, what are some of the other ways? Are there other ways to add to that in notes? Is it just typing notes, or can you add, like you said before, there's links, and maybe can you take pictures that
Yep.
are associated with that and just kind of flesh out this whole thing? Maybe if you were thinking about redecorating, could you add like little
Right.
swatches and pictures of lookalikes and things like that to the same piece?
Ex- exactly. Yep. So within each of these, you can just kind of go down a rabbit hole, really, and it organizes it by what type of thing it is you've saved. So I'm going to open up the examples in Bublup because they've done a beautiful job here. Um, you can, like you were just mentioning, you're redoing your home, for instance. So home remodeling. And again, these are all links off to other places and things you might have liked. So this might be very akin to people who've used Pinterest. It's that same sort of idea where you just kind of pin
Yeah,
it
yeah.
and you can return to it at any time. And then what's beautiful about it then is it also has a feed. So it sees that you've pinned these things, but you might also like these other things. And so you can see
Also,
the
it offers
places
us some
that it's.
suggestions as well.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
Yep, exactly. So you can continue off. And if you really create something that, for instance, I'm hoping to use this as a tool for my own clients to be able to do follow up
yep.
after a session. And so I'll create what's called a role. And it's kind of like your own personal website where you can send them with links. And for me, it'll be integration techniques. Things that I think they might find interesting post session. So, and it just does all that automatically for you. All you have to say is turn this into a role, and then you can share it and send them that link, and you can continue to add to it, which is
So
also a beautiful thing.
it'll become part of your follow-up flow for your clients, and that's always sort of one of the tougher, as a
Yeah,
coach. And the follow-up's not hard, but having the sometimes clients want notes or want to know what we talked about. Other times they take really great notes and it doesn't matter. But that idea of being able to send over this sort of very specialized or personalized summary for them, and especially if it's visual, and includes other pieces of information that you wanted to share with them, that's really fascinating. And
yeah.
and so
I
where does this fit in your day? When you start your day, is this where you're starting now, or do you start someplace else? How does this make its way in?
So this tends to be the place I go pre-session. I when I need to create documents and put things together. In particular, like my like recommendations for each client because it's different for each one.
Hmm.
So this is my like I'm creating a session specifically based on the information they've given me, and so I'm giving them then information during the session. It's the place that I go to just kind of revisit and go, oh yes, I need to touch on these 5 points during our session, and then that also helps me post session give them more tools. So yeah, it's just again a beautiful thing. It
Yeah,
gives
no,
me.
I love this idea for, I mean, one, the way in which you've used it as a learning tool for owner, as a
Yeah,
collaboration tool, for the flip book that you're talking about, and
yeah,
now as a kind of pre and post tool for keeping client information organized, personalized and organized, where you're revisiting, before a
yeah.
session, and and then sending afterwards. That's really, really, really cool. I love that.
Yeah,
I love
I just get so excited about it, and people are like, "What is Bubble Up?" And I'm like, "It's like the thing nobody knows about but should be using." And it's the next wave. I feel like this is like the next thing, next iteration of where we're going with apps and the way we communicate with people online, and again, making it easy and visual and fun to navigate and not dreadful. Like I look at my Dropbox and it's like World War III happened there. You
Right.
know?
Yeah, it does not look,
Um,
yeah, it doesn't look like something you want to engage in at all. Although one of the things that I think you
no.
said at the very beginning, I mean, you mentioned intuitive a couple of times, which I think is really great,
Yeah.
and that takes a lot
Yeah.
of work for an app to achieve something like that. At the same time, uh, you said that you've already set it up to work the way that you want, and I think that gets missed by a lot of folks. They think the app really
Yeah.
does the work for them, but you've taken the time to customize it and set it up to serve you and the way that your business works. And I really appreciate that, because it takes some, takes some thought and preparation. Making it, the fact that it's intuitive makes it a little easier. It appeals to you visually, but you really do have to
Yeah.
think about, how do I want this information to flow, and how do I want it to work? And congrats for putting in the time to have it serve you in that way.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things, really. I just feel like this whole thing has been luck of finding it.
Well,
Um,
yeah,
boy,
absolutely. That's so cool. Well, Tina, I'm going to put up your website again, and thank you so much for walking us through this. I love this tool. I'm going to have to play around with it now myself and learn more about it. But I really appreciate you taking the time to kind of walk us through how you use Bubble Up. Once again, if people are interested, you can learn more about what Tina does at breathelunazen.com. And if you're interested in the app, you can go to bubblup.com. No affiliate links. We're just sending them love, so you can go
yeah.
there and learn all about it. But again, Tina, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it so much that you gave me the time and shared this with us and how you use Bubble Up.
Yeah, glad to do it. Thanks for having me.
Take care.